Hello, hola, I'm Marco. So, a while back, my trainer comes to me and says, Marco, we gotta talk. Which is never a good start to any conversation. But he just asked me to begin tracking my calories and how much I weigh. This was back in August of 23, and at the time I was about 450 pounds and I was eating about 2,400 calories a day. Now, he didn't ask me to change anything, just to track. So I began tracking and I gave him the data. And a little while later, he comes back to me and says, okay, Marco, we're going to begin lowering your caloric intake. And nowadays, I eat about 1,500 calories a day. So I'm in a calorie deficit diet. Let me tell you about it. Actually, it'd be better to say that I'm in a calorie deficit because like 1,000 other YouTube videos and articles say, being in a calorie deficit is just when you burn more calories than you take in. So one part of it is knowing how many calories you take in, and the other part is how much physical activity you do, how much exercise you do. And in this video, I'm going to talk more about the caloric part than the exercise part. I'm going to talk about the exercise part in another video. But spoiler alert, I do CrossFit and I have a personal trainer. So, being in a calorie deficit, what is that? As you go down the calorie deficit rabbit hole, you're going to hear a bunch of different terms like your maintenance calories, how many calories you got to eat in order to maintain your current body weight. And then you might hear your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, which is just the minimum amount of calories your body needs in order for your core functions to continue to function. Your heartbeat, your lungs, your blood circulation, the basics. You might also hear RMR, your resting metabolic rate, which is just how many calories you burn when at rest, when watching YouTube videos, or watching reruns of Breaking Bad. You might also hear AMR, your active metabolic rate, which is just how many calories you burn, including how much exercise you do. And all these numbers vary every day anyways. Some more so than others, but they all vary. And there are a bunch of calculators online that you can go to find these numbers for you. Now, just between you and me, I have no idea what my numbers are. I don't know what my RMR is. I don't know what my maintenance calories are, and my AMR. I do different exercises every day, so that changes every day anyways. But fortunately for me, I don't need to figure that out because I gave my data to my personal trainer and he figured all that out. I asked him about it. I asked it about it once, and he said basically that he would look at my numbers every week, and he would see from week to week how I was doing, and if I was at or near the same weight every week, then he began lowering my caloric intake. And at first, I went down to 1,800 calories, and then nowadays I'm down to 1,500 calories. And part of that is because your body will adapt. Your body's going to resist giving up any of its reserves. And I hit plateaus. And to help me get through those plateaus, you lower the caloric intake. Now, as I said, I was tracking my numbers. To help me stay and maintain a calorie deficit, I have a few things I do. One of which is using an app to track instead of an Excel spreadsheet. Because using an Excel spreadsheet, entering the food, the calories, the weight, is tedious. It's just tedious, no fun. And I gotta say, I skipped a few days. Just a few days when I just didn't write it down. With an app, it's so much easier, so much simpler. I use an app called Macros First. It's actually the app my trainer has me using. One of the reasons for that is because Macros First, you can add a friend and your friend can see your data. That way, I don't have to write anything down. He just looks at the app and can see what I'm eating, and it also provides my macros and my weight. Great, awesome. I also like Macros First for a couple of different things. One is that you can scan the barcode of some food item and the information will automatically load into the app. Great, I don't have to write anything down. Though, not every barcode works. Like, if you go to Giant or Safeway and get one of those pre-made sandwiches, there's a barcode, but usually it's just the price. It doesn't give you any nutritional information. So at that point, you just got to enter the information into the app itself, and whenever you get that item again, it's already there. You can load it up again. Also, Macrosource has a huge database, like I'm sure other apps do. And in that database, you can find other items like, say, a 14-inch thin crust pepperoni pizza from Pizza Hut. So the database is useful for when there's no barcode and I'm just trying to figure out what it is this particular lo mein is, how many calories in this particular lo mein. So Macros First is one of the tools I use to help maintain my caloric deficit. Another tool or approach I use is to have some go-to food items that I know the caloric intake of. For example, I often begin my day with a Premier protein shake. It's 160 calories. But I also have canned salmon, canned tuna, canned chicken. I have carb balanced tortilla. I have American cheese, mustard cheese, cheddar cheese, eggs. Okay. One of my favorites, the just crack an egg omelet that come in a cup. Those are great. I know that I almost know all the calories for each one. They're different cups. I have Greek yogurt. I have some cream cheese. I have some peanut butter, and I know roughly. Some I know the caloric intake exactly, and some I have a rough estimate of. And what that allows me to do to help me maintain a calorie deficit is it allows me to pre-plan the day. I can wake up, I drink my Premier protein, and then I go through my refrigerator and my cupboards, and I start picking things out, and I add up until I hit 1,500 calories. Actually, it's a range. I would go anywhere between 1,460 and 1,540. If my food items add up to anywhere between 1,460 and 1,540, then I'm good. Usually I put a little bit under 1,500. Very rarely that you'll hit 1,500 exactly. But having those foods ready to go helps me to maintain my calorie deficit because I don't have to think about all the different kind of foods, find the caloric intake for them, and see whether I added up to somewhere between 1,460 and 1,540. It's kind of like how Steve Jobs wore the same clothing every day. I have a set of same go-to items I can go to. Not that I eat the same food every day, well, except for the Premier protein. I do drink that almost every day, first thing. But besides that, I have, again, a bunch of different food items, and I can mix and match, and I come up with a caloric, with the calories that fit my caloric budget, which is great. It's useful. It helps me maintain my caloric deficit. It helps me to know where I am, so to speak, in my caloric budget. For example, let's say I ate 1,060 calories, and I'm thinking, okay, what do I eat next? Okay, I have Greek yogurt. I know they're 220. I have 2 of them. That's 440. 440 plus 1060, 1,500. Great, awesome. And I can do that because I have those ready to go-to food items. Now, I don't only eat that. I will occasionally go out to like McDonald's or Wendy's. I don't usually go out to restaurants with friends too often and eat at the restaurant because it's really hard to try and find out how many calories are in the lasagna I'm eating. It's just, fortunately, oftentimes it's on the menu, but it's usually hard to try and find that information. So if I do go out with friends and I go to a restaurant and we eat something, I try and keep it very, very small, like the size of my fist, basically, and just that. And then later on, I'll see if I can't try and find the caloric intake. That's a little harder, which is why, again, I like having the go-to ready items that I know the caloric intake of. So, 1, I use an app. 2, I have some ready to go-to food items. 3, to help me maintain my caloric deficit, is I weigh myself, and I weigh myself every day. Now, I know the tyranny of the scale, okay? But hear me out. You don't need to worry so much about how much you lose or where you're at every day. It's more of a trend. Now, in macros first, you put in your weight and you can see a trend. So this is my all-time trend, and this is my 30-day trend, or a 30-day trend from last month, from Halloween. And you can see there's a bit of a bump there. Yeah, chocolate's my nemesis. And everyone brings in chocolate after Halloween into the office, and like, you can only take so much temptation. I mean, it just beats down your willpower. You can only take so much temptation. And yes, it's my fault for overeating, for going over the caloric intake. But when I see the weight trend and I can see that bump, it reminds me, oh, okay. I went too far. I gotta get back on track. Now, I do have some cheat days. I have 6 cheat days. Wait, 6? Yeah. I have Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, and a floating one. Just a floating one, just for whatever occasion might come up. But tracking my weight and seeing the trend is another way I use to help maintain a caloric deficit. So I use an app, I have go-to food items, I track my weight. Lastly, I exercise. I do CrossFit, and I have a personal trainer, and more specifically, I weight train. I do cardio. Cardio is great. Cardio is fine, but for fat loss, I would say that weight training is better for weight loss over cardio. Why? Because as you get stronger, as you get more muscular, as you get more fit, the amount of energy your body needs to produce in order for you to lift heavier and heavier weights is more. You're spending more energy as you get stronger. Also, just at rest, your muscle tissue, just to maintain itself, requires more energy than as you get bigger, as you get stronger. So weight training over cardio. Not that cardio isn't bad, cardio is great. Cardio is awesome while you're doing it, but weight training, getting stronger, that helps 24/7. And I'll go into that more in another video. So until then, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, let me know. Te veo.